We need it. Oxygen. It's why we breathe.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Small Business Stories. You've got me, your host, Dr. LL, and we are bringing you something really interesting this week. We've got Emil Abedian. He is the CEO of Council CPAs, and you're thinking, Council, does that sound attorney-ish? Well, yes, in fact, it does. And he is a newly minted author, so we're going to be getting into that as well. Emil, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Well, the first thing I like to ask, well, before we even get into asking questions, for those listeners who are having the auditory experience, they're not watching us on YouTube, but they're listening to us wherever we're streaming, iHeartRadio, Spotify, all of the rest of that, Apple Music. Give our listeners a description of who you are, your office, where we are, so they can kind of get the visual.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are here in Glendale, California, about, 10, 15 minutes outside of downtown LA. We're in a high rise here. You see, I kind of turn off the shades here to not get too much sun in behind me, but we have a beautiful view behind us over downtown LA. So envision downtown LA high rises. It's a sunny day in Glendale right now, so it's a beautiful day. As you mentioned, I'm a CPA for Council CPAs, founder of Council CPAs, Lorraine, and here we are. I don't know if we want to dig into more about me or just let's get into the show. I think that's more fun.
That's good. Yes, actually, we get into the show, but I think it is fun for our listeners, and it's also just a way of just starting to humanize it, right? Because every podcast, after a while, gets to sound the same, but we don't. We really work hard to make our podcast unique and bring not only the insights and tips from our experts, but make it a little fun while we're going through and talk about the ups and downs as an entrepreneur or small business owner. So that said, let's start off. Emil, what are you, not your firm, not Council CPAs, what are you, Emil, really, really good at?
I'm a good people's person, Lauren. I like to observe people and kind of serve, if that's a good word. Not only in business. We're not talking about business right now. Just as a family, I'm a father of two boys. My oldest one is graduating tomorrow, elementary tomorrow, actually. So he's going into middle school. Then my youngest son, Henry, is 8 years old. I'm married to my wife, Narine. So I like, as much as I can, as much as time I have, I want to spend time with them and kind of be part of their life as much as I can. I think we'll dig into it a little bit later, but I didn't get that from my father growing up. Not because he chose not to, but he couldn't. He was just working way too many hours to spend that time with us. And I think that's very, very important for me to actually spend time with my kids as much as possible. So that's me, I think.
Well, rather than get into it later, I think it's really important now because so many of the folks who are listening have the same struggles, right? You're trying to balance, first of all, being the CEO, the CTO, the CHRO, the CMO, the CSO, right? And a lot of the smaller businesses, you're wearing all those hats and juggling all of that. And oh, by the way, then you've got customer demands, this, that, and you're trying to tend with that. And oh, by the way, you have family obligations, or at the very least, you want to have time personally to be able to build these relationships and to maintain them. And a lot of folks struggle with that. How do you manage it? Do you time block, protect weekends, evenings? What's your strategy?
It's a very good question. It's an ongoing battle. I think doesn't matter how good we are at that. I think we can always make improvements and get better at it. I'm not always had the same time that I have today to spend time with my kids and my family. When I first started off, I was working those long hours, 70, 80-hour week every single week. But you get to a point where you really have to do it. You just have to, either you do it or you don't do it. You can't do it half-assed, excuse my French. And so the first thing that I think that I talk to my clients all the time, and it's in my book, by the way. Let me just, if you don't mind, let me just show it.
Oh, we're going to come to that. Emil is a brand spanking new minted author. In fact, he just received the first proof copy of his book hours ago, and we're privileged to be able to show it to you here. Emil, why don't you describe it and we'll just jump right into the book.
Absolutely. So this is Council to Council, and I had to show it because the first time I'm showing this off because I got it literally 2 hours ago in the mail. So we are actually talking a lot about what you just mentioned here in this book, specifically for solo and small law firm partners, which is our niche of the firm we're working with, and how they can open up more time to do what they love. Whether that's practicing law, whether they're spending time with their kids, whether that's growing their business, whatever that is that their passion is to do. And we talk a lot about it in this book. And it's about seeing your business as a business and not as a profession or a high-paying job. I think that's the number one thing we have to do. We have to do mindset shift in ourselves. Say, this is not, I'm not at the firm anymore. I'm not at the company working. This is not a high-paying job anymore. This is my business. Similar to when a restaurant owner invests a lot of money in a restaurant to open up a restaurant, right? They're not making money in the beginning, but they had to put in a lot of money initially to invest in it. Professionals such as CPAs, lawyers, doctors, dentists, we don't see our business in the same way. We see it as us being the business, which is the biggest problem because we get trapped in the hamster wheel. We get trapped in it and we keep doing things that we should not doing. I went to accounting school to be CPA, but I didn't go to marketing school. I didn't go to IT school. I didn't go do any of that thing that many entrepreneurs have to do, unfortunately, in the beginning. So it's a mindset shift is the number one thing that I really, really talk about to my clients, that you have to convert that to be able to spend time with your family or whatever it is that you like to do.
So, can you share whatever you feel comfortable with sharing? What was the tipping point that made you decide that you've got to write your book here, Council to Council, and dig in so deeply into this whole balancing act of entrepreneurship? What are you willing to share?
Yeah, absolutely, and it's all of it. I share anything. It's all in the book. I have nothing to hide. I made so many mistakes in the past 15 years that it's not even funny, but that's just part of it, and we live and learn. So in the book, I'm sharing my experience, how I built my CPA firm from where it was, solo guy, just me, until what we have today. But also, we're talking about my clients, success stories for my clients, how they built 250 man law firms from just a brand new startup. And also we're comparing that to less successful stories. It's not a failure because we never fail. We only learn. So no failures, but less successful stories, and see what are the differences. How is it that these two partners made it so big, but the other 2 or 3 partners didn't? Like, what are the differences? So that we're talking a lot about that in the book. But going back to say why I wanted to share this, write the book, is I felt like it's kind of a responsibility. I don't know. I might overthinking it, but to share what we know, to help, even if I can help one lawyer to skip 5 or 10 different steps that I made, the mistakes I made, if they can skip those and just jump up and run their firm like a business, I'm happy. That's all I want from this book. So I felt like a responsibility to share my personal experience, but also the experience I see from my law firm partners, the clients, to other lawyers, so that they can learn and hopefully do a little bit less mistakes than what we did.
As an author myself, I'm curious about this. What was the writing process like for you? And so many of our listeners are writing their own books or they've already released them because I'll get back to that. What was the process like for you?
Yeah. It didn't happen overnight. Absolutely not. I think I wanted to do this for the past 4 or 5 years. And you always have something more important that pops up. and takes your time and you never get to it. But then about 2 years ago, I think, year and a half ago to 2 years ago, I decided that this is it. Doesn't matter what it is. I'm gonna put blocks in my calendar, just weekly, just one day a week, 2 hours a week is what I'm gonna do. I still have 38 hours to do anything else I want for the business. So I blocked it out and gradually kind of painted a picture for myself of what I want from this book. What is it that I want to put into this book to create value to my clients, to people that reads it, whoever that kind of connect with this book. So just putting blocks in your calendar is a good starting point, because then you have to do it. It feels like it's part of your day and you just get to it. And as I kind of gradually got into it, it got more and more fun. I didn't think it would be a fun process actually, but it's actually really fun. And I don't want to say it, but I might even do a second one in the near future. So and the process changed during these 2 years that I've been working on it, obviously. But initially, you kind of come up with the blueprint of it, the chapters, what is it that I want to talk about. I came up with the idea of, okay, let's talk about my CPA firm, because what I'm offering to my law firm clients is very similar to my own CPA firm, but we just happen to be in the two different service industries, but business itself is the same. So that was the idea. Let's compare me to lawyers and also lawyers to lawyers. So it's kind of a two-way comparison in the book. And gradually, just chapter by chapter, I just went through it and kind of came up with scenarios, looked at my clientele, went back. I talked to a bunch of my own clients about it and make sure they're on board, obviously, first of all, to be included in the book, but also just to get it from their perspective. Because just because I see it from my perspective doesn't mean that that's the reality. So I talked to them from their perspective and put all of our thoughts into this. So that's been the process throughout the book until in the end parts of it where you actually go through a publishing company and all of that to publish it. That's the administration of it.
Oh, yes. But the part I was, like I said, particularly interested in is how you've used these less successful stories in contrast to the super successful stories, because I do think that that's how we learn. I'm also of the opinion, and I want you to react to this. Yes, no, Laurelyn, you're just absolutely barking up the wrong tree. I think as much as we can read, oh, so and so made these mistakes, don't do this, don't do that, watch out for that. I think as entrepreneurs, we kind of have to walk through the problem ourselves. Even though we do better, we read about it, someone said don't do it. All of a sudden we find ourselves in the problem, and then we have to go to these books, such as Council to Council, and say, okay, how do I get out of the problem? Do you agree that, or you think that these really help people
No,
avoid it?
I agree. I agree with you. I think you're right on there. Uh, but by reading these books before, in my opinion, again, this is, who am I to say that? But in my opinion, before you made these mistakes, if you have read about it and you have an understanding, you will still do it. But I think you will get out of it faster.
Yes, there's the answer. I
I
think
think
exactly. I think you're spot on.
I think that's what it is, and we have to make mistakes. There's no freaking way we'll start something and build something and just go through it without making mistakes. Then there's something wrong with you if you do that. But
Or you're
but
in denial or lying. Oh, I made nothing. No mistakes at all. I'm perfect, right?
yeah, that would be a perfect world. But yeah, I agree with you. It's definitely you have to make those mistakes. But instead of making 2,000 mistakes, maybe you make 1,950 mistakes. Yeah.
I love it. Last question about your book, then we'll move on. When
Yeah.
did you know you were finished writing it?
When did I know when I was finished? To be frank, if I would go back again, I would probably change things. But
Right. That's what I'm saying. We
yeah,
get stuck in this loop.
yeah, I could keep on writing it because there's new things that comes up and new things. But I had put a time frame for myself. So at this time, when I reach these chapters, when I write enough about these chapters that I feel comfortable with it, we'll get it out. This is my first book. It's not going to be perfect. I'm sure readers will find flaws in it and some kind of issues with it, but that's fine. It's not meant to be perfect. It's meant to share my ideas and share my experience and my client's experience. So I don't think you ever will be done with it. I don't think so. I think next versions will be better than this version, definitely. And we just keep on moving. It's just as long as we go forward, right? As long as we take a step forward, that's all we want. We can't be perfect. I think that's something that a lot of us are looking for, but we need to be realistic.
I do think that's a problem a lot of entrepreneurs have, that they have to get to 99.999999, but the game is really the 80/20. Get it to 80%, get it out the
Yeah.
door, get the reaction, refine it, adjust, then go again. Would you
Yeah.
agree?
100%, 100%. It's just not end of the world. Like we can just update this version 2, version 3. Well, that's not end of the world. Just get it out. But you need to feel proud over it. I think I'm very proud over the product. So I don't think it's 100%, but I'm proud of it. So it's I think that's more important than making it to 100%.
I agree. You got it out there, and I congratulate you on that. I think it's fantastic. We'll list
Thank you
it
so
as a
much.
link where the folks can buy it in the notes. All right. So back to your swim lane of expertise. One of the things that really intrigued me about having you on this show is not that you're a CPA or that you're a CPA focused on attorneys and law firms and helping them grow, but that you are in that position of becoming a strategic partner. And that's a really, I think, interesting angle because you think, CPA, right? Like CFO, pardon me, essential function, right? Make sure the books are good, make sure the taxes are paid, make sure everybody's good so nobody gets, sent to jail because they haven't done the right thing with respect to the numbers. But you're talking really about all the differences that you can make approaching it as a strategic partner role. And I'd like to hear more about that. What is that
Yeah.
all about?
I think that's the key, especially going forward with the business world changing, AI taking over slowly, even though it's just touching the surface right now, but it will in the next 5 to 10 years be a totally different game. I think as a business owner, we have to see it as value add. We have to see our services not as just compliance work, because typically when I ask people about a CPA, what do you think about when you hear the word or the acronym or the title CPA? Tax return, bookkeeping, sales tax, payroll. These are all compliance work, which is something we have to do, obviously. But we changed our business model years ago, even before I got in 100% into the legal industry, when we were serving all kinds of industries, to make a point to make sure we provide value to our clients. And how do we do that? How can I provide value? Preparing your tax return or doing bookkeeping is not value add service. That's something that we have to, as a client, you have to do it. But by being part of my client's journey throughout the year, every month, quarterly basis, monthly basis, to understand their business, to understand what their issues are and what they need help with more than just compliance work, is where we come in and kind of create the strategic partnership with them. And I'm not partners with them, but we're just strategic partners. I'm not getting any partnership, profit sharing or anything from them. But by us structuring our kind of service packages in a more structured way, right? Where, just as an example, if you will come to me and asking for just a tax return preparation, we would not be a good fit for you. We'll probably not take you on as a client because it's not much I can do for you just by taking your numbers and plugging into tax return. But if we do the bookkeeping for you, monthly basis, and if you and I sit down on a quarterly basis and review your financial statements, you ask me any question you have about your accounting, financial statement, about your business in general, by the way, not necessarily about accounting. And more importantly, in my opinion, I ask you questions about your business. Where are you headed? What's your plans? What's your goals? What are you trying to do? So we are on the same page at any given time throughout the year. So I can give you the value. I can give you the advice. Because without doing these meetings, without knowing the numbers, I can't help you. There's not much I can do. I just have to prepare a return for you. So that's how when we switched over our business model, we have to see our clients on a quarterly basis. We have to do the accounting to understand the number, to make sure the numbers are reliable and accurate. It's not for us to do the bookkeeping. That's not we doing it. That's also compliance work. But it's just to get the information, get the your goals and ideas to give you the advice, support as a strategic partner should do, in my opinion.
Are there certain flags or that you see or metrics that you look at like, wait a minute, okay, I'm going to put my strategic business partner hat on and call my client and say, hey, client, we notice this kind of thing. We need to talk. Like, forget about it for the quarterly meeting. We've got to do something. Any suggestions that you can share? What are these flags or metrics that you're following and going, this one's going off track. Or this is going before they go too far off the rails. We're going to pull them back in. What are you looking for?
100%, 100%, and that's a very good question. And to your point, we don't, just because we have quarterly meetings, we talk to our clients way more often than just quarterly. Clients can call us anytime. All our packages includes unlimited correspondence just because of that reason. I don't want them to wait until the quarter comes up for them to reach out to them. I need to talk because that simplifies my work, and the easier it is for me, the better I can shine, because if I shine in front of my client, then I just get more referrals. You call it egoistic, you call it whatever, but it's a win-win situation. I can help you, and we help each other. But there's a bunch of things we'll look at, like KPIs that we are looking at, and KPI is, if listeners don't know, the key performance indicators, and depending on the law firm that we're working with, depending on the size, we have different KPIs that we monitor for those specific clients. But just as an example, we work with a bunch of personal injury attorneys, being in California. And personal injury attorneys, the biggest cost, they have two biggest costs. It's a labor, because it's a labor-intensive work, but also marketing. They spend typically they spend tremendous amount of money on marketing to get these leads, to be able to sell our cases and generate big profits. So marketing is a big thing that we look at for our personal injury attorneys. That's not the same thing we look at our business attorneys, because they don't do any marketing at all. Business attorneys get their clients from referral sources, networking events, or other lawyers, or state planning attorneys. Typically, I don't see state planning attorneys do a lot of marketing. But what we see from state planning, they do. Don't get me wrong, they do marketing, but not in the same way a personal injury would do, with ads and billboards and all that. So for state planning attorneys, what I'm looking at most of the time is the bottom line compared to your revenue. So, okay, as a solo state planning attorney, having 2 or 3 employees, your profit margin should be close to 40 to 50%. Why is it only 25%? All right, that will not give us an answer, but then we need to dig into the details of the financials. Okay, your wages are going up, or why are you in a $15,000 monthly office lease when you don't have any clients coming into you? Your entire business is remote. All your clients are remote. So those are the things we look into for each and specific client, and depending on what kind of industry, size of the business, or practice area they are in, those KPIs are different.
It's just funny. Well, maybe it's a coincidence. You mentioned personal injury attorneys. Earlier today, had one of the leading experts. They're a top 1% of Google's premier partners, and they specialize in Google ad optimization. And they talked about how personal injury lawyers have the highest costs, often $350 per click, just because the competition is so great and they have to buy the competitive ad space. So yeah, it's just, funny that you said that. But back to something else with respect to the
it's very, very expensive to do marketing in the PI world.
Can you offer a tip to our listeners? We like to, get in there and get a good tip that you can for our small business owners. Offer them some kind of tip as to what they can do best with respect to managing their finances, especially if they're a smaller law firm, how they might benefit.
Yeah, I think the key here, set the compliance aside. We're not talking about compliance work, but from business perspective, from business and accounting perspective, it's very important that we keep monitoring our numbers. You're in it. You open up your law firm or your business, your small business, to generate profit. This is not a hobby for you. If you want to do a hobby, you can go play golf and go fishing and do whatever you want. But you open up your firm, you open up your business to generate profit and hopefully build something for the future. And by doing that, you need to put the business owner, investor/investor hat on and look at it as an investment, not as a job. That's the biggest mistake that I see small business owners doing, that they look at their business as a job and not as an investment. And by doing that, you need to monitor your numbers. You need to understand the numbers. Not only that, you need to look at them, but you need to understand what are these numbers telling me? Just in plain English. It's not rocket science, but you should have someone on your side who actually explains the numbers to you just in plain English, very simplified way, so you understand what each line item, each revenue and expenses means for you to make educated decisions for your business to move it forward. Don't ignore that fact. I think that's what I see a lot of small business owners doing, and it's ending up costing them a tremendous amount of efforts, if not money.
Right, to undo, right? And it's hard to undo and come back from a position of weakness. It's the goal is to build towards strength.
100%. And it's not impossible, but it's a lot harder. It's a lot harder to go back and fix it, compared to just doing it strategically from the beginning.
And that's, I think, a really good segue into one of the things that I thought was really interesting to have you on the show, that you talk about very small businesses with respect to, again, the law firms, solo firms. In fact, it's a single lawyer, right? A solopreneur. And there's a lot of people in our audience who are solopreneurs in whatever their lane is. They might be a business coach, a life coach, a CPA, a this, a that, right? Whatever they are, they're a solopreneur. And yet you also work with some very, very large law firms. So how can solopreneurs look to have this kind of service and even get support compared to the big law firms when it's just one person? I mean, do they really need a business partner CPA? Don't the solopreneurs just kind of need to get it done, check the box for compliance? Yep, the taxes are in. Yep, the quarterlies are in. Call it done. I mean, how can a small solopreneur benefit with a partnership model? That I'm curious to hear about.
Absolutely. And to be frank, I enjoy working with the solopreneurs more than the larger firms because, in my opinion, they need it more than the larger firms. The larger firms already get it. There is a reason why they are large right now. They've done a lot of right things in the past years to get to where they are, even though there's a lot of value that could be provided to them too. But solopreneurs depends. If you want to grow, if you want to stay as a solopreneur, you just want it as your own business. You don't want to hire anyone. You just want to have a small practice, just you. Then yeah, maybe you're right, Erlen. Maybe you just need a tax return filed and just call it a day and you're done. But most of the time, at least what I see, most of the time, a solopreneur that opens up their firm or a business, they want to grow. They want to do the right thing and they want to keep on developing to make more money, to hire more people. And in that case, you need it from day one, in my opinion, because if you don't have the people on your right side, it doesn't have to be a CPA. If you don't have the right IT team in your side, then your IT infrastructure is going to be wrong from the beginning. It's a lot harder to fix it down the line than it is to set up a base correctly. Same way with marketing. You hire a wrong marketing team, you're just going to waste money spending the money and not generating anything. Same with a strategic partner as your CPA. You want to grow. I think, in my opinion, you want it set up right from the beginning, get the right advice from the beginning to kind of put that on autoplay as you keep on growing. That's my opinion. And I think to answer that question, solopreneurs, what I have seen, need us more than larger firms.
I get it. I have a similar sort of, I guess, philosophy in that I like working with the small firms who are looking, like I offered the small business glow up, right? You don't need to boil the ocean and do everything. You're just trying to get up to that next level. And the struggle is real, right? Like it is. Like I said, you're wearing 50 different hats every day. And then, oh, by the way, you're expected to have a personal life too. and it gets to be overwhelming. So I think it's really good to lean on experts like yourself who really understand the domain of accounting and finances, especially within the legal world. Another question related to that, because this is what entrepreneurs do, we pivot. We see this isn't working, or here's an opportunity. And like Alex Hermosi said, right, in the $100 million deal, riches are in the niches. And so you pivoted Council's CPA to be exclusively focused on law firms, regardless of size. Can you talk to us about that pivot?
Yeah, yeah. It's not always been like that. Obviously, when I first started, 2009, or is it about 16 years ago, I was doing anything for anybody. Knock on the door. I'm the guy. I'm the CPA. You want payroll? I do it. You want tax returns? I do it. You want bookkeeping? I do it. But you pretty quickly realize that that's not a business model. That just that's insane. The insanity to do everything for everybody. As much as I want to help, as much as I want to do whatever I can to help anybody in my surrounding, I have to be realistic and say, this is what I want to do. This is what I'd rather help you 100% with this little portion rather than 50% of all these different sections of your business. So gradually, and then it didn't happen overnight. I started 16 years ago. June of last year is when Council CPA was formed. That's when we split up Council CPA from my other operation. And now, as of today, as of earlier this year, my other operation is run by other managing partners. So I'm not as much involved in that, to be able to focus 120% on the law firm operation. To answer your question, it didn't happen overnight. It was just a gradual kind of evolution of the business, where step by step we realized that lawyers need this service, and then we dig in deeper into it. So, okay, what can we do to kind of satisfy their needs? You can't just do accounting and tax. You got to dig in deeper to be able to help and provide value to them in a different level. It could have been really any other industry. It doesn't matter. It could have been doctors, dentists, architects, whatever. As long as you have the expertise and kind of able to help them with those specific nuances that they need help with. In legal work, for example, besides from the accounting and tax, lawyers need trust accounting. That's just compliance work, but if they don't do it right, they'll lose your license. And trust accounting is regulated by state bar regulations. So we know trust accounting in and out. I would say very confidently 99% of CPAs out there not touching trust accounting. So that's a little bit niche that we have that we can help them get into it. So that's how we got into it initially. We got into trust accounting, and then now we're doing so much more than just trust accounting. So, but to add to this, it was the absolutely best thing I've done with my business is to niche it down to a specific industry, because it becomes so much easier to run a business. For me as an owner, for my team that does the work, everything is so much systemized and process oriented, but also for the client, because they can see that we understand them. They can see that we can do much more than what the compliance is requiring. So if you can, I highly recommend specializing.
Well, that's like I said, Alex Hormozy, right? $100 million deal. The riches are in the niches. So, as we're getting close to wrapping up our podcast here, Emil, where can people find you?
LinkedIn. I love LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn all the time. Message me, and I will respond personally to your questions. Any ideas you want to discuss, anything, I'm your guy. LinkedIn is the best way to reach me.
Perfect. And for those that are listening and not looking at the notes, Emil Abedian, Abedian on LinkedIn, Council CPA. All right, last question. We're going to bring it home here. If we had a look, this is our signature question, and 250 people in, I had the weirdest answer earlier today. We'll get to that in a second. If we looked into your closet and there was some outfit, some type of clothing, some accessory, some shoes, some boots, something that just represented Emil Abedian. This is your personality. And when you put it on, you feel like you feel like $1,000,000. What are we looking at?
We got it. Even though I can't show them today because I don't know, for some reason it's not matching my desire, but I'm known for colorful socks. I
Ah,
love colorful socks. It looks stupid sometimes, but it is what it is. It makes me happy in the morning when I put them on. It could be anything as long as there's color on them. I love it. So I'm known for my colorful socks.
I love it. Like, so that's why I love this question. It brings out the personality. The person that earlier today said he collects swords in his closet. So there you go, right?
Oh,
That's yeah, I was like, well, I've never had that answer before, but there's a first time for everything. So that said, it's a big world, it's a bright world, and there's all kinds of opportunities to learn from people and celebrate our differences. So I thank you, Emil Abedian, author. Now we can
thank you.
add that to your name, not just
Wow.
CEO of Council CPA, but author of a new book you'll see out in shelves soon, Council to Council. Thank you, Emil.
Thank you so much, Lorlyn. Thank you so much. Pleasure.
And how about that fantastic intro by Touch Circle?